Checkmarx is a prominent application security provider focusing on integrating security throughout the software development lifecycle to help organizations mitigate vulnerabilities effectively. Using static security analysis (SAST), Checkmarx scans microservices and API code to identify vulnerabilities such as SQL injections, authentication flaws, and security misconfigurations across both proprietary and open source code, and provides a robust integration service into CI/CD pipelines and IDEs. The tool also checks that secure development practices are followed, such as API key management and protection of sensitive data. Today, we are at RSAC Conference 2026 at Moscone Center in San Francisco, and we are joined by Tromzo CEO Harshil Parikh. Tromzo was one of the major AI companies that was acquired by Checkmarx in December 2025, and it's famous for the autonomous AI agents, security agents that it has. So, welcome Harshil to YoIndiaTV with me, Jasleen. First of all, let me ask you, how's your experience at RSAC?
Thanks for the warm welcome here. RSA is just getting started for us, today being the first day that the expo floor is open. Like every single year, it's exciting. A lot of people from different parts of the country and pretty much the whole world coming out here. One of the big security conferences. But my experience this year especially is interesting because it is all about AI, and that's really what's exciting and interesting in this day and age. So you walk across the expo floor or talk about cybersecurity to anyone who is participating in the conference, and everyone is thinking and talking about things, not just because it's hot, but because they know how to use it now. So my experience has been pretty incredible, even if it's the first day. I was here yesterday as well, but just in 2 days, it's just amazing time to be in cybersecurity right now.
Wonderful. So, open source and free tools by Checkmarx, if we get a little deep dive into it, then I would rather say that the developer first AI agent for instant vulnerability prevention and fix, unified visibility, control and prioritization across the entire Appsec posture is something that Checkmarx provide. So when you have tied hands, then how is Tromzo's contribution?
Yeah, so it was an interesting better together story where Checkmarx, if you might know, like we've been around, Checkmarx has been around for 15 years, almost 20 years now in the application security industry. And the core engines and the company historically has been really good at finding vulnerabilities, finding risks. So if you're building software or infrastructure, Checkmarx has one of the best engines out there to find every single possible vulnerability. What I did at Tromzo before joining Checkmarx was taking that data and help automating the fixes for those things. So now as we partner together, it's a beautiful, complete story where you're not only finding the problems, but you're also automatically fixing those. Mm-hmm. That's really what we want, right? Like
so most of the problems that are of repetitive nature, right?
Correct, yes. So quite a few of them are repetitive nature because it's different humans introducing different problems, or even AI agents now introducing different problems. Mm-hmm. But the job is to understand those patterns across that repetitive nature, and how do you fix it at the root cause so those things stop appearing again and again. Mm-hmm. So it's a beautiful partnership, like a better together story where finding and fixing problems, we were solving the problem entirely for our customers.
Wonderful. So let's get to the research part here. Checkmarx maintains a research division, Checkmarx 0, that has published findings on vulnerabilities and software supply chain risks. In 2022, Ars Technica reported a flaw in the Ring Android app that exposed sensitive user data. In 2025, Checkmarx reported malicious Python packages on PyPI design to exfiltrate data. In 2025, Cybersecurity Dive reported survey data from Checkmarx indicating that 98% of organizations experienced breaches linked to software flaws. In 2025, IT Pro Today covered research warning that AI generated code creates blind spots in DevSecOps. So let's talk about these findings and what's your take on the blind spots?
See, this is we are getting a lot of, we meaning these 0 days and these blind spot issues are getting a lot of attention these days because a lot of people in the media are tying it with AI, and it's justifiably so because we've always had these types of releases of new vulnerabilities being discovered every few months or multiple times a month. But now what is happening is because even the bad guys can write code faster, they can write exploitation code faster, we are seeing more frequent occurrence of these things. And this trend will continue to happen where the weaponization of code will become more and more easy and faster using AI. So I think we all need to be just prepared to respond to these things faster because these blind spots will become uncovered. These new 0 days will be more frequently. That's just an undeniable change that we are in right now.
So, talking about composition analysis and code scanning, how does AI directly help into doing these chores?
Yeah, so it's composition analysis, static analysis. They've been around for almost 10, 15 years, 20 years or so. And the typical process was that the static analysis would look at a piece of software with a bunch of rules, like thousands of rules, and they will check every single rule against your piece of software that you're writing. Now with AI, you can actually build that system to be much more smarter and intelligent. We have built a very intelligent system where it not only checks thousands of rules, but it actually understands what your software is doing. Like, is this just a regular website, or is this an e-commerce application? Like, you understand what the behavior is of the application and be smarter about what can be the potential risks. So then you are actually checking everything that's important as compared to things that may not matter. Now think about, in the human world, in medical science world, we have tens of thousands of vaccines available in the medical industry, but not everyone takes every single vaccine, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going into a certain part of the world where certain diseases are more prevalent or certain viruses are more prevalent, then you take certain precautions because you're going into that, because we are smart, we're intelligent, we know what is relevant where. That's the world of AI, the value that AI is bringing, which is now you understand what your application is, behavior is, what is intention, and you have security controls that are specific to that behavior, not just here are 15,000 things and just do everything, really. You can't.
Custom controls.
Exactly.
Do you have the right tools for your Appsec jobs? For example, take this tomato. I want to slice it up and put it into a delicious salad, but all I have is a hammer. Look what happens. Stupid, right? Too many Appsec professionals are using the wrong tools for the job. They are taking a hammer to everything. Tools that don't work together, or tools that developers hate. But there is an answer to all of this. The Checkmarx One platform. Every tool you need to secure what you build, from SAST to DAST to container security. Tools that work together and work for your developers to give you security and speed. It lets you build dev trust with tools that work within workflows to make security quick and seamless. See all vulnerabilities in one place and manage them with one process. Scan quickly in real time and prioritize with results that reduce false positive by up to 90%. Our amazing new AI agents sit on top of Checkmarx One platform, extending into IDE's workflows and executive security strategy. Security can be messy. Get the right tools for the job.
Independent reporting on Checkmarx research also examined manipulation risks in AI coding agents via a lies in the loop technique alongside broader supply chain findings in public repositories. Survey reporting highlighted that most organizations experience breaches tied to vulnerable code amid growing adoption of AI development tools.
Right.
So lies in the loop technique and code vulnerability are some of the things that I would like to draw audiences' attention, and maybe you can express your opinion how this is playing at Checkmarx.
Yeah, see, this Checkmarx Zero, the research team, they're some of the smartest people I've ever seen. They know security better than most of the people in the world. Now, what they were trying to understand is how do new risks get introduced when AI agents are writing code. I mean, historically, it's humans who have been doing this, but now, when humans are writing code, even we introduce vulnerabilities and risk intentionally or unintentionally, hopefully unintentionally most of the times. But AI agents are no different because they are actually trained on code that's written by humans. So if we don't configure them the right way, if we don't tune them, train them in the right way, then they will end up introducing vulnerabilities. And that's exactly what the lies in the loop technique did, which it actually found out significant security concerns in code written by AI agents. And the point of that is to raise that awareness that just because it's an LLM and we don't have to do a lot of work in writing code doesn't mean it's safe and secure. Like, we still have to have security controls implemented in those things, because otherwise they will expose you to things that you may not be aware of.
Nice. So users frequently reported, and correct me if I'm wrong, that high false positive rates, slow scan speeds, and high costs are something that your organization might also have brought alongside. Yeah. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah, I mean, this is the nature of the industry. The example that I gave earlier, that the traditional static analysis was built and still operates in a way where you have these 15,000 rules or tens of thousands of rules, and every single rule is checked against your piece of software, which obviously will result in a lot of noise that may not be relevant to you. But the intention behind that design was to check every single possible concern in your software, be very thorough. That was the way it was designed 15 years ago. And today, most of the world still works that way. But what we can do, as I was mentioning earlier, with AI, with introduction of AI, is actually solve the problem by making it smarter, smart controls. You brought up that term. It's a brilliant way of framing this exact problem, which is we don't need to have the same software controls that we had before. AI enables us to make it much more smarter and intelligent, and we already have those products. Look, we are the biggest application security company. If you look at most analyst reports, Gartner and so on and so forth, we are the top right quadrant leader. We have the experience and expertise to understand how these things work. So we've leveraged AI better than what AI companies can actually do in cybersecurity, because we have the research and knowledge. So our next generation of products don't have this problem of massive amounts of noise and false positives and things like that. So our company is progressing in the AI native world as well.
I'm Adam Mishler. I'm the Chief Information Security Officer here at Best Buy. Primary objectives of our organization, our purpose is to enrich lives through technology. So my team is entirely focused on supporting the purpose of our organization. Unification and having visibility across all of our applications from an application security perspective is really important. Having a unified platform gives us that visibility centrally and allows us to prioritize the most important things.
We've seen an 80% reduction in the noise so that our engineers can really focus on just the high quality things that we trust. Everything that attempts to release into production gets scanned. And so last month, that was about 27,000 scans and 2.1 billion lines of code. So we're looking for scalability, accurate scans, but fast scans as well. And Checkmarx does that.
Having good analytics and a good understanding of where we have the greatest risk is really important.
We're very focused on making sure we get the most value out of every dollar. So when we're asked the question, is this a responsible way to spend our resources? We can use Checkmarx to get the insights into what's actually going on to answer that question with confidence. Checkmarx is the best player in the industry when it comes to understanding the needs of the enterprise. The results are best in class, the performance is best in class, and the vendor's dedicated to making sure that we can keep our environment secure.
The US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, has released new details about research. Now, research is a malicious implant used in zero-day attacks exploiting CVE 2025-0282 to breach I-20 Connect secure devices. The update focuses on the implant's undetected latency on the appliances and its sophisticated network-level evasion and authentication techniques that enable covert communication with the attacker. What's your take on Checkmarx's stance to prevent research attacks on I-20 Connect secure devices? Do you really think hackers are taking advantage of the latency? You've seen such examples?
Look, I have personally not seen it, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. There are a lot of similar malicious attacks that are happening. This obviously got a lot of press attention because it's actually pretty bad. Our Checkmarx's position is that you have to have a multi-layered comprehensive approach to security because there's no one solution to these types of problems, right? Because you may do your static testing, for example, but these types of vulnerabilities may never be found by static testing. So you have to do multiple layers of automated and human-based analysis as a complete security program to be more exhaustive. And I used to be a security practitioner actually before coming on the vendor, the product side. I was a chief security officer at a company, and my job was to protect the company, its infrastructure, and its software from similar types of things. And we had a multi-layered system where we would have automated tools like Checkmarx. I was a Checkmarx customer. We would have tools like Checkmarx that would be running the scans, but I also had a global team of humans who would be manually testing these things every single day throughout the whole year. And my point is, these types of Ivanti and these types of attacks, breaches will continue to happen. Hackers will continue to compromise actually at a faster scale because now they can automate things with AI much more easily. So we have to, as security practitioners, as just technology users, we have to have preventive controls like Checkmarx, which will scan and protect things, but also reactive controls where when these things happen, you have to respond to them quickly and mitigate the breach.
Brilliant. So looks like Checkmarx is on an rising trend and it's becoming more and more popular. Any examples you would like to quote from your customers or any premier customers or examples of vulnerabilities if you would like to share?
Yeah, well, the new thing that I'm excited about hearing from customers, and I had a couple of meetings just yesterday, they were using our AI products. And the thing that made me super excited about it is because our customers are using AI to write code, to build infrastructure, deploy infrastructure. They're using things like OpenAI or Codex and Claude Code and Cursor and things like that. And they're using our AI agents completely embedded as a part of the agent native lifecycle. Mm-hmm. So about a year ago, who would have thought that coding agents are writing code and security agents are securing them and agents are working with other agents to secure this? But that's a reality now. Like today, this is not a pipe dream, this is reality now. Mm-hmm. And when customers come and tell me that Checkmarx agents are directly working with their coding agents to end up with a much more secure code, mm-hmm. that makes me excited. That makes me super excited about the future of where this technology is going.
So only one thing, like hallucinogenic effect of AI, I do not believe that it is possible to 100% get away with that. That is one of the biggest weaknesses of AI. While automation is the biggest strengths, I would say hallucinogenic effect is the biggest weaknesses. How have you been able to deal with it?
Yeah, so the reason enterprise companies are just adopting AI technology now is because when AI became a really big thing a few years ago, it was still hallucinating quite a bit, was giving incorrect answers or whatever. But people now have started to figure out how to get it to operate within a bound that's acceptable. And there are a lot of engineering controls, and that's the beauty of building technology, that you have to make the technology work in a way that's expected and it's okay. That's what we have engineered. Like there are things like context engineering, prompt engineering, all of the framework around the model. So when we launch an AI product, it's not just an LLM, it's not just the AI LLM, it's all of the engineering around it to make sure that it operates safely and effectively. Like that's what we have built. But again, to your point, AI by its nature, LLMs by their nature, are non-deterministic, so they can potentially give different answers if you ask the same question 2 times. But so are humans, right? Humans also hallucinate a lot of times. My kids hallucinate all the time. But no, my point is there are enterprise-grade controls that we have implemented and the industry has implemented to get it to a much more accurate level that's acceptable. I think that is still the future, even though there might be some non-determinism in the outcomes here.
So, who are your potential customers and what is your greatest pitch to them?
Well, look, if you are anywhere related to cybersecurity, software development, infrastructure development, the only thing you need is a system that will make sure you are building and deploying safe applications. And Checkmarx is the go-to shop for it because we find problems, prioritize them, and fix them. Right? So it's not just creating more problems, it's finding and fixing your key risks that matter.
And automating the fix.
Automating the fix, that's exactly right.
So, thank you, Harshil. That was a great message. Anything you want to tell to YoIndiaTV viewers before we wrap this up?
Well, keep watching YoIndiaTV. This has been amazing. These 2 folks have been fantastic partners to work with, and I'm excited to be a more engaged audiences member as well.
Thank you so much, and it is always great to see Indian Americans setting wave and paving ways in Silicon Valley in particular. We've seen a lot of techies out here, even a lot of professionals in other area, and we have now, I think, millions of Indian Americans thriving in Silicon Valley itself. So great to see people from our community. YoIndiaTV is all about showcasing Indian Americans and how they have made it big in US. Keep watching YoIndiaTV, and I hope you gained from this insightful conversation. Goodbye for now.